Consider for a moment the power of your imagination. It is not merely a faculty for idle daydreams, but the very foundation of your reality. When you imagine hearing back from someone, you are not engaging in wishful thinking, but in the act of creation itself. For your imagination is God in action. And what you conceive in your mind's eye is destined to manifest in your physical world. The message you awake is not bound by the limitations of time and space. It exists now in this very moment in the realm of infinite possibility. Your task is to enter into the feeling of having already received it. Feel the joy, the excitement, the satisfaction of hearing those words you long to hear. Make it real in your consciousness and watch as the world reshapes itself to match your inner vision. Many of you may doubt the power of this practice. You may think, how can my imagination influence reality? But I say to you, your imagination is reality. It is the God-given power within you to shape your world. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that the message you await is not coming from some external source, but from the depths of your own being. The sign you are about to receive is not a coincidence or a stroke of luck. It is the natural consequence of your own mental activity. You have planted the seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, and now it must grow and bear fruit. This is the law of your being, as immutable as the law of gravity. What you assume, you become. What you imagine, you create. Do not make the mistake of ignoring this sign when it appears, for in doing so you are ignoring the very power that created it. Embrace it fully, knowing that it is the materialization of your own divine imagination. Let it serve as proof of the creative power that resides within you, waiting to be harnessed and directed towards your heart's desires. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you hear back from someone, know that it is your own self answering your call. You are the author of your life story. And this message is but one line in the grand narrative you are writing with every thought and feeling. Many of you may be wondering, but what if the message doesn't come? What if I imagine and nothing happens? To this I say, revise. If the day ends and you have not received the sign you anticipated, do not accept defeat. Instead, in your imagination, rewrite the day. See yourself receiving the message, feel the emotions associated with it. Make it so vivid and real that you cannot distinguish it from physical reality. For in truth, there is no distinction. Your imaginal act is the reality from which the physical springs forth. As you embark on this practice, you may find that your outer world begins to shift and change. People may react to you differently. Circumstances may align in unexpected ways. Do not be alarmed by these changes, for they are the natural result of your shifted consciousness. You are seeing the first fruits of your imaginal labor, the early signs that your inner vision is taking root in the fertile soil of the physical world. It is crucial that you persist in your assumption. Do not waver in your conviction that you will hear back from someone. Hold fast to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when your senses may deny it. For your senses only show you the world that was, not the world that is becoming. Your imagination shows you the world that can be. That must be, if you but hold true to your vision. Consider the biblical story of Abraham, who was promised descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, even in his old age. Against all physical evidence, against the testimony of his senses, he held fast to the promise. He lived in the end, feeling the joy and satisfaction of being a father to multitudes. And in time, the physical world reshaped itself to match his inner conviction. You, too, are called to this level of faith. Not a blind faith in some power, but a knowing faith in the creative power of your own imagination. When you hear back from someone, it will not be because of some cosmic coincidence, but because you have decreed it to be so in the theater of your mind. As you go about your day, carry with you the feeling of having already received the message you await. Let it color your interactions, influence your decisions, shape your mood. For in doing so, you are living from the end. And this is the secret of all successful manifestation. The feeling is the secret, the key that unlocks the door to your desired reality. Do not concern yourself with the how or the when. These belong to the realm of Caesar, the world of effects. You are operating in the realm of cause, the kingdom within. Your task is not to manipulate the external world, but to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality of your desire fulfilled. The bridge of incidents, the means by which your desire will be realized, will form itself without your conscious interference. As you cultivate this practice, you may find that not only do you hear back from someone, but that your entire life begins to transform. For you are not merely changing a single event, but your entire concept of self. You are stepping into the role of conscious creator, aligning yourself with the divine power that shapes worlds. Remember, the message you await is but a symbol of a greater truth, that you are the operant power in your life. You are not a helpless victim of circumstance, but the very source from which all circumstances spring. When you truly internalize this truth, you will no longer anxiously await messages or signs from others. You will know that all power resides within you, and that the entire universe moves to fulfill your assumptions. Do not make the mistake of putting your faith in external forces. The power you seek does not reside in other people, in lucky charms, or in the alignment of the stars. It resides in you, in the infinite creative potential of your imagination. When you hear back from someone, know that it is your own voice echoing back to you from the depths of eternity. As you go forth from this place, carry with you the conviction that your imagination is creating reality moment by moment. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Paint boldly with vibrant colors and sweeping strokes. Create a masterpiece worthy of the divine artist that you are. The sign you await, the message you long to hear, is already yours in the realm of imagination. And what is imagined must be made manifest. For this is the law of your being. Do not question it. Do not doubt it. Simply live in the absolute assurance that it is done. Many of you may be tempted to share your vision with others, to seek validation or support. But I caution you against this. Your imaginal act is a sacred thing, a seed planted in the secret place of the Most High. Nurture it in silence, water it with your faith, and let it grow in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. The world will see the fruits of your labor soon enough. As you await the physical manifestation of your desire, do not become anxious or impatient. These states of mind imply that you do not yet have what you seek, and thus delay its appearance in your world. Instead, cultivate a sense of calm expectancy, the quiet assurance of a thing already possessed. Remember, time is a construct of the human mind, a way of organizing experiences in a linear fashion. In the realm of imagination, all things exist now. The message you await is not coming from the future. It exists in this very moment, in the eternal now of your consciousness. Live from this timeless state and watch as the illusion of time bends to accommodate your assumption. You may find as you practice this principle that the specific person from whom you expect to hear becomes less important. For you will realize that they are but a channel through which your own assumption flows. The power does not reside in them, but in you. They are moved by your consciousness, playing the role you have assigned them in the drama of your life. Do not limit yourself by thinking that only one specific person can bring you the message you seek. The entire universe is at your command, ready to rearrange itself to match your inner vision. The message may come from an unexpected source, in an unexpected way. Be open to infinite possibilities, knowing that the how is not your concern. Your only task is to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire fulfilled. As you go about your daily life, make it a practice to revise any events that seem to contradict your assumption. If a day passes without the expected message, do not accept this as final. In your imagination, rewrite the day. See yourself receiving the message, feel the joy and satisfaction it brings. Make this imaginal act so vivid, so real, that it supersedes the memory of the physical day. This practice of revision is not mere wishful thinking or self-delusion. It is a powerful tool for reshaping your world, for your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. By revising events in your imagination, you are literally rewriting your past and consequently altering your future. Many of you may wonder about the morality of using your imagination in this way. Is it right, you may ask, to manipulate reality for my own ends? But I say to you, there is no reality to manipulate outside of your own consciousness. You are not imposing your will on others, but rather awakening to the truth of your own divine nature. In doing so, you liberate not only yourself, but all those around you. As you become more adept at living from the state of the wish fulfilled, you may find that your desires begin to change. What once seemed vitally important may lose its urgency. This is a natural consequence of aligning yourself with your true nature. You are no longer driven by lack or fear, but move from a place of abundance and love. The message you await is but a stepping stone on your journey of awakening. It is a symbol of your growing awareness of the power within you. As you master this principle, you will find that you no longer need external confirmation of your assumptions. You will know with unshakable certainty that what you imagine must come to pass. Do not be discouraged if, at first, you do not see immediate results. The seed you have planted in the garden of your mind needs time to germinate and grow. Water it daily with your faith. Nurture it with your unwavering assumption. And in due time it will bear fruit. The law is infallible: what you sow, you must reap. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person you encounter, every circumstance you face is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you hear back from someone, know that it is your own self answering your call. You are the author of your life story. And this message is but one line in the grand narrative you are writing with every thought and feeling. As you go forth from this place, carry with you the absolute conviction that your imagination is creating reality moment by moment. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is a brush stroke on the canvas of your life. Paint boldly with vibrant colors and sweeping strokes. Create a masterpiece worthy of the divine artist that you are. The sign you await, the message you long to hear, is already yours in the realm of imagination. And what is imagined must be made manifest. For this is the law of your being. Do not question it, do not doubt it. Simply live in the absolute assurance that it is done. Many of you may be wondering about the timing of this manifestation. When you ask, will I receive this message? But I say to you, time is a construct of the human mind, an illusion born of our limited perspective. In the realm of imagination, all things exist now. Your task is not to wait for some future moment, but to enter fully into the reality of your desire fulfilled in this very instant. Imagine, if you will, that you are standing before a great mirror. This mirror reflects not your physical appearance, but the contents of your consciousness. What do you see reflected there? Do you see anxiety, doubt, fear of rejection? Or do you see the calm assurance of one who knows their desire is already fulfilled? The choice is yours. And it is a choice you make moment by moment with every thought and feeling. As you cultivate the feeling of having already received the message you await, you may find that your entire being begins to shift. You may walk differently, speak differently, interact with others in a new way. This is natural and to be expected. For you are no longer the person who is waiting to hear back from someone. You are now the person who has heard, who has received, who is living in the joyous reality of their desire fulfilled. Do not be surprised if, as you practice this principle, you begin to attract new and unexpected experiences. The message you await may come in a form you had not anticipated. It may come from a person you had not considered. This is the bridge of incidents forming itself, the means by which your assumption is made manifest in the physical world. Trust in this process, knowing that the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind far exceeds your conscious planning. Remember, the power to create your reality does not reside in some external force, but in the very depths of your own being. You are not a powerless supplicant begging the universe for favors. You are the universe itself, molding reality with the infinite power of your imagination. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that the message you await is not coming to you, but from you. As you go about your day, make it a practice to catch yourself in moments of doubt or anxiety. When you find your mind wandering to thoughts of what if or when will it happen, gently but firmly bring yourself back to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the satisfaction of having already received the message. Make this feeling more real to you than the evidence of your physical senses. Many of you may find this practice challenging at first. You may struggle to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled in the face of seeming contradictions in your physical reality. But I say to you, persist, for it is in these moments of challenge that your faith is strengthened, your imagination honed, and your creative power realized. Consider for a moment the story of the prophet Elijah, who commanded the rain to fall after years of drought. He did not stand beneath clear skies and doubt. He did not question the timing or the means. He lived in the absolute assurance that the rain was coming, so much so that he sent his servant 7 times to look for a cloud. And on the 7th time, a small cloud appeared, no bigger than a man's hand. From this tiny manifestation, a great rain was born. You too are called to this level of faith. The message you await may at first appear as a small sign, a tiny cloud on the horizon of your consciousness. Do not despise these small beginnings, for from them great manifestations are born. Nurture them with your faith, water them with your unwavering assumption, and watch as they grow into the full realization of your desire. As you become more adept at living from the state of the wish fulfilled, you may find that your entire perception of reality begins to shift. What once seemed solid and immutable may reveal itself as fluid and responsive to your consciousness. This is not cause for alarm, but for celebration. For you are awakening to the true nature of reality, to the limitless creative power that resides within you. Do not make the mistake of sharing your vision with those who may doubt or discourage you. Your imaginal act is a sacred thing, a seed planted in the secret place of the Most High. Nurture it in silence, protect it from the cold winds of skepticism and disbelief. Let it grow strong in the fertile soil of your own unwavering faith. As you go forth from this place, carry with you the absolute knowing that the message you await is already yours. It exists now, in this very moment, in the eternal realm of your imagination. Your task is not to make it happen, but to align yourself with the reality of its existence. Live from that place of fulfillment and watch as the world reshapes itself to match your inner vision. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. If you find yourself constantly checking your phone, anxiously awaiting a message, know that this state of lack and anxiety is what you are creating. Instead, live as though the message has already been received. Feel the peace, the satisfaction, the completion that comes with it. This is the state from which your desire will manifest. Many of you may be wondering about the actions you should take in the physical world. Should I reach out, you ask? Should I make the first move? But I say to you, the most powerful action you can take is to act from the state of the wish fulfilled. If in your imagination you have already received the message, how would you behave? What would your demeanor be? Live from that state and let your actions flow naturally from it. As you practice living from the end, you may find that your desire begins to take on new dimensions. What started as a simple wish to hear back from someone may blossom into a deeper understanding of your own worth, your own completeness. For in truth, the fulfillment you seek does not come from outside yourself, but from the realization of your own divine nature. Do not be discouraged if at times you falter in your assumption. We are human, and it is natural for doubts to arise. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts or break yourself for having them. Simply acknowledge them, and then gently return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your ability to consciously create your reality. Remember, the law of assumption is not a tool for controlling others or bending them to your will. It is a means of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, of realizing your own divine nature. When you hear back from someone, it will not be because you have manipulated them, but because you have transformed yourself. You have become the person who naturally, effortlessly receives such messages. As you go forth from this place, carry with you the absolute conviction that your imagination is creating reality moment by moment. The message you await is already yours in the realm of imagination. Live from that state of fulfillment, feeling the joy and satisfaction of having received it. Let this feeling permeate your entire being, coloring your thoughts, your words, your actions. For in doing so, you are living from the end, and this is the secret of all successful manifestation. Remember, you are the operant power in your life. The entire universe moves to fulfill your assumptions. Do not put your faith in external forces or chance occurrences. Put your faith in the creative power of your own imagination. For it is not some distant deity or capricious fate that shapes your world, but the God within you expressing itself through your thoughts and feelings. Live from this knowing and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. The message you await is but the first step on a journey of infinite possibility and boundless creation. My dear wonderful friends, tonight I shall share with you the most powerful secret in all of creation, how to speak to yourself in a way that will completely transform your world in just 3 days. Not in 3 months, not in 3 years, but in 3 days. For you see, the power of your inner conversation is absolute, and it is the only true creative power in the universe. Now, when I tell you to talk to yourself, I am not speaking of the idle chatter that most engage in throughout their day. I speak of that inner conversation that is deliberate, conscious, and aligned with your desired state. For your inner conversation is your consciousness externalized, and your consciousness is God. Consider the words of Scripture. In the beginning was the Word. These words are not speaking of some external deity's utterance. They speak of your inner word, your inner conversation. For you are the operant power, and your inner conversation is the word that creates all things. Many of you come to me asking, Neville, how long must I wait to see my desires manifest? And I tell you now, give yourself 3 days of proper inner conversation, and you will see your world begin to transform. For 3 is the number of completion in Scripture. And when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. Let me share with you exactly how to conduct this inner conversation. First, you must understand that your inner conversation must be from the end. You do not speak of what you want to be true. You speak as though what you desire is already true. This is the great secret that most of the world has missed. When you wake in the morning of your first day, your inner conversation must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must be that of a wealthy person. If you desire health, your inner conversation must be that of a healthy person. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be that of someone who is deeply loved. But, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must feel natural. It must not be strained or forced. For feeling is the secret, and your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When David spoke to Goliath, his inner conversation was not, I hope I can win, or I will try my best. His inner conversation was from the state of victory already achieved. This is why he could say with complete conviction, this day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand. Now, for these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation as though your life depends upon it, because it does. Every time you catch yourself engaging in inner conversation that contradicts your desired state, you must immediately revise it. This is not a suggestion. This is a command if you wish to see your world transform. Consider this: every outer conversation you have is first an inner conversation. Every relationship you have is first an inner conversation. Every circumstance in your life is first an inner conversation. Therefore, by changing your inner conversation for just 3 days, you literally change the entire substance from which your world is created. Let me tell you how to structure your inner conversation throughout these 3 days. In the morning, your first inner words must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. Before you open your eyes, before you move a muscle, engage in the inner conversation of the person you wish to be. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my abundant life. Money flows to me easily and continuously. I am surrounded by prosperity. But remember, these words must not be mere affirmations. They must be spoken with the feeling of knowing that they are already true. Throughout your day, your inner conversation must maintain the same level of conviction. When challenges arise, and they will arise, your inner conversation must remain steadfast. If someone speaks of lack, your inner conversation must be of abundance. If someone speaks of illness, your inner conversation must be of health. This is where most fail in their attempt to change their world. They allow their inner conversation to be pulled into the current circumstances rather than maintaining the conversation of their desired state. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your inner conversation unless you give them that power. For these 3 days, you must be relentless in maintaining your new inner conversation. When you walk down the street, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you eat your meals, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. Your inner conversation is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, is a shadow of your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you literally create a new world. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, 3 days seems too short a time to change my entire world. Let me remind you of the story of Jonah. How long was he in the belly of the whale? 3 days. And after 3 days, he was transformed, and his world was transformed. This is not coincidence, my dear friends. This is law. 3 days of proper inner conversation is all that is required to set in motion the forces that will transform your world. But these must be 3 complete days, not 3 days of wavering between states. During these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation not just in your waking hours, but as you fall asleep. For the last inner conversation you have before sleep is particularly powerful. It continues to echo through your subconscious mind throughout your sleep. Therefore, as you prepare for sleep during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be perfectly aligned with your desired state. If you desire a successful business, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my thriving business. My customers are delighted with our services. Profits increase continuously. But remember, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. It must feel as natural to have this conversation as it feels to speak of what you had for breakfast. This is where the power lies, not in the words themselves, but in the feeling of naturalness that accompanies them. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your outer conversations. Therefore, during these 3 days, you must be particularly vigilant about your outer conversations as well. They must align with your new inner conversation. If someone asks you how you are, your response must come from your desired state. If someone speaks to you about problems or difficulties, your response must come from your desired state. Your outer conversation must be a perfect reflection of your new inner conversation. Many of you may find this challenging at first. You may be tempted to engage in conversations about current circumstances rather than your desired state. But I tell you now, this is where your power lies in maintaining your new conversation regardless of appearances. Consider the story of Jesus walking on water. What was his inner conversation? Was it about the impossibility of walking on water? Was it about the danger of the storms? No, his inner conversation was from the state of mastery over all natural laws, and his outer world had to conform to this inner conversation. During these 3 days, you must maintain the same level of conviction in your inner conversation. You must speak to yourself as though your desired state is already your reality, not as though it will be, not as though it might be, but as though it is. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise during these 3 days, and they will arise. When a doubt appears in your mind, do not fight it. Instead, immediately revise your inner conversation. If you catch yourself saying inwardly, "This isn't working," immediately revise it to, "Everything is working perfectly. My world is transforming now." This revision must be immediate and complete. You cannot allow doubt to linger in your inner conversation. For remember, your inner conversation is the only reality. Therefore, a doubting inner conversation will create a doubting outer reality. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be dominated by gratitude. Not gratitude for what you hope will come, but gratitude for what is already yours in your desired state. This gratitude must be part of your inner conversation throughout the day. When you wake in the morning, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you go about your daily activities, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your inner states, and your inner states create your outer world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of wealth consciousness. If you desire health, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of health consciousness. If you desire love, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of being loved. Many of you may be wondering what to do if you slip in your inner conversation during these 3 days. Let me be very clear, you must not condemn yourself. Instead, immediately revise the conversation. Remember, you are training yourself to maintain a new inner conversation, and like any training, it requires practice. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary focus. Every other activity must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation, for you are literally recreating your world through this conversation. Let me share with you how to structure your inner conversation for specific desires. If you desire a new home, your inner conversation might be, "I love living in my beautiful new home. Everything about it is perfect for me." If you desire a promotion, your inner conversation might be, "I am so grateful for my new position. It's everything I desired and more." But remember, these are not mere words. They must be accompanied by the feeling of living in that new home, the feeling of working in that new position. For feeling is the secret, and your inner conversation must generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be specific. Vague inner conversation creates vague results. Therefore, speak to yourself with clarity about your desired state. Be specific in your inner conversation about what you are grateful for, what you are experiencing, what you are enjoying in your desired state. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your self-concept, and your self-concept creates your world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about who you are, not just what you have. If you desire success, your inner conversation must be about being a successful person, not just about having success. If you desire abundance, your inner conversation must be about being an abundant person, not just about having money. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be about being a loved person, not just about having a relationship. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be continuous, not in the sense of constant chatter, but in the sense of consistent alignment with your desired state. Every time you become aware of your inner conversation, it must be from your desired state. Let me share with you how to maintain this continuity. Set reminders for yourself throughout the day. Every time you look at your watch, every time you eat a meal, every time you enter a room, let these be triggers to check your inner conversation. But remember, your inner conversation must not be mechanical. It must be alive with feeling, rich with the emotion of your desired state, for it is the feeling that gives power to your inner conversation. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be sovereign. You must not allow anyone or anything to dictate your inner conversation. Not circumstances, not other people's opinions, not past experiences. Nothing must have power over your inner conversation except you. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your expectations, and your expectations create your experience. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create the highest expectations of good for yourself. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, what if my desired state seems impossible? Let me remind you, nothing is impossible to your inner conversation. Your inner conversation is God in action, and to God all things are possible. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about possibility, not probability. You must speak to yourself from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of how probable or improbable may seem to your rational mind. Let me share with you how to handle apparent failures during these 3 days. If something happens that seems to contradict your desired state, your inner conversation must remain unchanged. You must speak to yourself as though the seeming failure is actually part of the perfect unfolding of your desire. Remember, your inner conversation is creating your reality, not the other way around. Therefore, no external circumstance has the power to change your inner conversation unless you give it that power. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant companion. It must be the lens through which you view every experience, the filter through which you interpret every event, the standard by which you measure every circumstance. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your belief system, and your belief system creates your reality. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must consistently reinforce the beliefs that support your desired state. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be a perfect reflection of the person you wish to be. You must speak to yourself as that person would speak, think as that person would think, feel as that person would feel. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of consciousness. When you catch yourself speaking from your old state, immediately ask yourself, how would I be speaking to myself if I were already the person I wish to be? Then revise your inner conversation accordingly. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about what is, not what was or what might be. You must speak to yourself in the present tense from the state of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial for the manifestation of your desire. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your future, but it does so by creating your present. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must make your desired future your present reality. Many of you may be wondering what will happen after these 3 days. Let me tell you, if you have maintained the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you will have set in motion forces that must result in the manifestation of your desire. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary tool for creation. Every other method, every other technique, every other approach must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation. Let me share with you how to know if your inner conversation is correct. If it feels natural, if it feels real, if it feels true, even in the face of contrary evidence, then your inner conversation is correct. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be protected like a precious jewel. You must guard it against doubt, against fear, against negativity. For your inner conversation is the very substance from which your world is created. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with yourself creates all other relationships. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must reflect the highest, most loving relationship with yourself. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your sacred practice. You must treat it with the same reverence that a priest treats his prayers, that a scientist treats his experiments, that an artist treats his creations. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of devotion. See your inner conversation as your direct connection to the creative power of the universe. For that is exactly what it is. Your consciousness in action, creating your world. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant reminder of who you really are, the operant power in your world, the creator of reality, the God of your universe. And that, my dear friends, is how you must talk to yourself for 3 days if you wish to transform your world. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but consistently, continuously, constantly. For your inner conversation is the word of God in action, and it cannot return void. Remember this, your world is your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, guard your inner conversation for these 3 days, as though your life depends upon it, because it does. So what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue with your old inner conversation, creating the same results you've always created? Or will you begin today, this moment, to maintain a new inner conversation that must create a new world? The choice is yours, but the law is absolute. Your inner conversation creates your reality. Therefore, speak to yourself for 3 days as though your desires are already fulfilled, and watch your world transform. That's the message I want to leave you tonight. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, 3 days of proper inner conversation will transform your world. Every single time. And isn't that worth thinking about? To choose yourself is not an act of selfishness or ego, as some might believe. No, it is the recognition of your true self, the acknowledgement of the God within you. When you choose yourself, you are aligning with the creative force of the universe, the very essence of being that flows through all things. Consider for a moment the great masters and teachers throughout history. Did they not first choose themselves, recognizing their divine nature and unique purpose before they could offer the gifts to the world? Jesus himself proclaimed, "I and the Father are one." This was not a statement of arrogance, but a profound recognition of his true identity, an identity that each of you shares. When you choose yourself, you are declaring to the universe, "I am." You are stepping into the role of creator in your own life, assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. This, my friends, is the cornerstone of manifestation, the foundation upon which all desires are built. But what does it mean to truly choose yourself? It means to love yourself unconditionally, to honor your dreams and aspirations, to trust your intuition, and to nurture your unique gifts. It means to stand firm in your convictions, even when the world seems to stand against you. Imagine for a moment that you are a brilliant light, like beacon of divine radiance. Would you cover this light with a bushel, hiding it from the world? Of course not. You will let it shine forth, illuminating not only your own path, but the path of what is around you. This is what it means to choose yourself, to let your light shine without apology or hesitation. Now, some of you may be thinking, "But Neville, I have made mistakes. I have flaws and imperfections. How can I choose myself when I feel unworthy?" To this I say, your perceived flaws and mistakes are but illusions, shadows cast by the light of your true self. They are not who you are, but experiences you have had in your journey of self-discovery. Remember, my dear friends, that the God within you is perfect, whole, and complete. When you choose yourself, you are choosing this divine perfection, this eternal and unchanging essence of your being. You are not choosing your past actions or your future potential, but the ever-present I am that exists beyond time and space. As you begin to truly choose yourself, you will notice a remarkable shift in your reality. The world around you will begin to reflect this choice, mirroring back to you the love, respect, and honor that you have given to yourself. This is the law of assumption in action, the principle that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state of being. But choosing yourself is not a one-time event, my friends. It is a continuous practice, a moment-by-moment decision to align with your highest self. Each day upon waking, affirm to yourself, I choose myself. I honor my divine nature. I trust in the wisdom of my inner being. Let these words sink deep into your consciousness, becoming the foundation of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. As you move through your day, be mindful of the choices you make. Are they in alignment with your true self? Or are they based on fear, doubt, or the expectations of others? When faced with a decision, ask yourself, what would the highest version of myself choose in this moment? Then have the courage to make that choice, regardless of what others may think or say. Now let us turn our attention to the second part of our topic, then choose who chooses you. This, my dear friends, is equally important in the dance of manifestation and self-realization. For just as you must choose yourself, you must also be discerning in who you allow into your inner circle, who you give your energy and attention to. When you have truly chosen yourself, when you have aligned with your divine nature and let your light shine, you attract others. Others who recognize and appreciate your radiance. These are the people who choose you, not for what you can do for them, but for who you truly are. But here's the crucial point. You must still choose them in return. Just because someone chooses you does not mean they automatically deserve a place in your life. You must exercise your divine right of discernment, choosing to surround yourself with those who uplift, support, and inspire you on your journey of self-realization. Think of it this way: you are the custodian of a sacred temple, the temple of your own being. Would you allow just anyone to enter this temple? Of course not. You would carefully consider who is worthy of crossing that threshold, who will honor the sanctity of your inner space. This applies to all relationships in your life: romantic partners, friends, business associates, even family members. While we cannot choose our blood relations, we can choose the nature and extent of our interactions with them. Always remember, you have the power to set boundaries, to decide who has access to your energy in your inner world. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish? Shouldn't we love everyone unconditionally? To this I say, loving someone does not mean you must allow them unrestricted access to your life. You can love someone from a distance, wish them well, and still choose not to have them in your inner circle. True unconditional love begins with loving yourself unconditionally. From this wellspring of self-love, you can then extend love to others in a way that honors both them and yourself. It is not about exclusion, but about conscious inclusion, about creating a harmonious environment that supports your growth and the growth of those around you. As you begin to choose who chooses you, you may find that some relationships in your life naturally fall away. This is not a cause for sadness or regret, but a sign that you are aligning more fully with your true self. Trust in this process, for as these connections dissolve, new ones will form, connections that are more in harmony with your elevated state of being. Remember the words of Jesus, for many are called, but few are chosen. In the context of our discussion, we can interpret this to mean that while many may be drawn to your light, only those who truly resonate with your highest self should be chosen to be part of your inner circle. This process of choosing who chooses you is not about judgment or superiority. It is about energetic alignment and mutual growth. The people you choose to surround yourself with should be those who inspire you to be your best self, who challenge you to grow, who support your dreams and aspirations. Imagine for a moment that you are a grand piano finely tuned and capable of producing the most beautiful music. The people you choose to have in your life should be like skilled musicians who know how to play you, bringing out your best notes, creating harmonies that elevate both you and them. They should not be those who bash at your keys discordantly or try to change your tune to suit their own preferences. As you practice choosing who chooses you, you will find that your relationships become deeper, more authentic, and more fulfilling. You will no longer waste energy on connections that drain you or hold you back. Instead, you will cultivate a circle of individuals who reflect and amplify your own divine nature. But let me caution you, my friends, this process of choosing who chooses you is not about creating an echo chamber of yes men and sycophants. The people you choose should also be those who are not afraid to speak their truth, to challenge you when necessary, to hold up a mirror to your blind spots. For it is through these interactions that we grow and evolve. Think of the great friendships throughout history: David and Jonathan, Ruth and Naomi, Emerson and Thoreau. These were individuals who chose each other, who recognized the divine spark in one another and nurtured it. They challenged each other, supported each other, and in doing so, they both grew into the fullness of their potential. Now, as we delve deeper into this concept, I want you to understand that choosing who chooses you is not a one-time decision. Just as choosing yourself is an ongoing practice, so too is the discernment of who you allow into your inner circle. It requires constant awareness and periodic assessment. People change, circumstances change, and you yourself are constantly evolving. A relationship that once served your highest good may no longer do so. It is your responsibility to recognize when this happens and to have the courage to make the necessary adjustments. This does not mean you should discard people at the first sign of difficulty or disagreement. No, it means that you should be aware of the overall energy of your relationships. Do they predominantly uplift and inspire you, or do they drain and diminish you? Are they based on mutual respect and growth, or on codependency and limitation? As you engage in this practice of choosing who chooses you, you may find that some people in your life resist this change. They may be accustomed to having unrestricted access to your energy and attention, and they might push back against your newfound boundaries. This is where your commitment to choosing yourself will be tested. Remember, my dear friends, that you are not responsible for other people's reactions to your growth. Your only responsibility is to be true to yourself, to honor your divine nature, and to create an environment that supports your highest good. In these moments of resistance, return to your inner knowing. Reconnect with the God within you. Feel the strength and certainty of your I Am presence. From this place of inner alignment, you will know how to respond with love and firmness, maintaining your boundaries while still honoring the dignity of others. As you continue on this journey of choosing yourself and then choosing who chooses you, you will begin to notice a remarkable transformation in your life. Your relationships will become more authentic, more supportive, more aligned with your true self. You will find yourself surrounded by individuals who inspire you, challenge you, and celebrate your growth. But more than that, you will notice a shift in how you perceive yourself and your place in the world. By consistently choosing yourself, you affirm your worthiness, your divine nature, your right to exist fully and unapologetically as who you truly are. This self-affirmation becomes a powerful force of manifestation, attracting experiences and opportunities that align with your highest vision for yourself. And by choosing who chooses you, you create a supportive ecosystem for your growth and self-realization. You surround yourself with mirrors that reflect back to you your own divine nature, amplifying your light and inspiring you to shine even brighter. This, my dear friends, is how you create heaven on earth. For what is heaven but a state of perfect alignment with your true self, surrounded by souls who recognize and celebrate your divine nature? Now, I want to address a common misconception that may arise as you embark on this journey. Some may interpret the idea of choosing yourself as a license for narcissism or self-centeredness. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you truly choose your highest self, your divine nature, you naturally become more compassionate, more generous, more loving towards others. Why is this so? Because when you recognize the God within yourself, you cannot help but see it in others as well. You begin to understand that we are all interconnected, all expressions of the same divine consciousness. Your self expands to include all of humanity, all of creation. From this expanded sense of self, your choices become aligned with the highest good of all. You choose yourself not at the expense of others, but in a way that uplifts everyone around you. And when you choose who chooses you, you do so with the understanding that these relationships are not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of all. Consider the great leaders and visionaries throughout history. They chose themselves first. They believed in their vision, their purpose, their divine calling. Then they chose who chose them. They surrounded themselves with individuals who believed in their vision and could help bring it to fruition. In doing so, they changed the world, benefiting not just themselves, but all of humanity. You, my dear friends, have the same potential within you. You are here to make a unique contribution to the world, to express a facet of the divine that only you can express. By choosing yourself and then choosing who chooses you, you are creating the optimal conditions for this expression to manifest. As we near the conclusion of our discourse, I want to leave you with a practical exercise, a way to embody this principle in your daily life. Each morning as you wake, take a few moments to connect with your inner being. Feel the presence of the God within you. Affirm to yourself, I choose myself. I honor my divine nature. I trust in the wisdom of my inner being. Then, as you move through your day, be mindful of your interactions with others. Before engaging in any significant exchange or making any important decision, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this choice aligned with my highest self? Is this person or situation supporting my growth and self-realization? If the answer is yes, proceed with confidence and gratitude. If the answer is no, have the courage to redirect your energy, to set boundaries, to choose differently. Remember, every choice is an opportunity to align more fully with your true self and to create relationships that reflect and support this alignment. And each night, before you sleep, review your day. Acknowledge the moments when you successfully chose yourself and chose who chooses you. Celebrate these victories, no matter how small they may seem. For each of these choices is a step towards the full realization of your divine nature. If you find instances where you faltered, where you made choices that were not aligned with your higher self, do not judge or condemn yourself. Simply acknowledge these moments with compassion, understanding that you are on a journey of growth and learning. Use these experiences as opportunities for greater awareness and commit to choosing differently in the future. As you consistently practice this principle of always choose yourself, then choose who chooses you, you will begin to notice profound changes in your life. Your sense of self-worth will deepen. Your relationships will become more fulfilling. And your ability to manifest your desires will increase exponentially. You will find yourself naturally attracting opportunities and individuals that align with your highest vision for yourself. Doors that once seemed closed will begin to open, and paths that were previously hidden will reveal themselves. For when you choose yourself, you are choosing the God within you, and nothing is impossible to God. Remember, my dear friends, that you are not alone on this journey. The entire universe is conspiring to support your growth and self-realization. Every experience, every relationship, every challenge is an opportunity for you to choose yourself more fully, to align more completely with your divine nature. And as you choose who chooses you, you are creating a community of like-minded souls, a support system that will uplift and inspire you on your path. These individuals will be your cheerleaders, your collaborators, your mirrors, reflecting back to you your own innate divinity and infinite potential. In closing, I want to remind you of the immense power that lies within you. You are not just a physical being having a spiritual experience, but a spiritual being having a physical experience. You are a unique expression of the divine with gifts and talents that only you can bring to the world. By choosing yourself, you are honoring this truth. You are stepping into your power as a co-creator with the universe. And by choosing who chooses you, you are creating an environment that nurtures and supports this divine expression. So go forth, my dear friends, with the knowledge that you are worthy of choosing yourself. You are worthy of surrounding yourself with those who recognize and celebrate your true nature. You are worthy of living a life that is a full and complete expression of the God within you. Choose yourself, then choose who chooses you. In doing so, you are not just transforming your own life, but you are contributing to the transformation of the entire world. For as you align with your highest self and surround yourself with those who do the same, you become a beacon of light, inspiring others to do the same. This is how we create heaven on earth, one choice at a time. This is how we fulfill our divine purpose and become living expressions of love, joy, and infinite possibility. This is how we honor the God within us and within all of creation. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to embark on this journey of self-discovery and self-realization. May you always choose yourself, and may you be blessed with relationships that reflect and amplify your divine nature. Go in peace, go in love, and always remember the power that resides within you. The power to choose, the power to create, the power to be who you truly are. God bless you all. Have you ever noticed that life feels lighter, more magical when you truly let go? When you stop trying to control everything and just breathe? Today I'm going to share something that changed my life completely, and I know it will change yours too. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath. This simple act of being present, of letting go, this is where your power lies. Not in struggling, not in fighting, but in surrendering to the infinite intelligence within you. You see, most people live their entire lives in a state of resistance. They're constantly pushing against what is, fighting what could be, worrying about what might be. But I'm here to tell you something that might shock you. The universe isn't separate from you. It's an extension of your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're truly happy. In those moments, you're not trying to control anything. You're simply being. This state of being, this natural flow, this is your true power. But most never realize this because they're too busy trying to make things happen. Let me share something profound with you. Every time you worry about the future, every time you stress about how something will work out, you're actually resisting the natural flow of life. You're telling the universe you don't trust it. And what you resist persists. I remember a time when I was constantly trying to control everything in my life. Every detail, every outcome. I was exhausted, frustrated, and nothing seemed to work out the way I wanted. Then I discovered something that changed everything. The power of letting go. You see, letting go isn't about giving up. It's about understanding that there's an intelligence far greater than your conscious mind at work. When you truly grasp this, something magical happens. Life starts working for you instead of against you. Think about when you're falling asleep. You don't try to fall asleep, do you? You relax and allow sleep to come. This same principle applies to everything in life. The more you try to force things, the more they resist. The more you let go and trust, the more naturally things flow. Most people approach life like they're swimming upstream, constantly fighting against the current. But what if I told you that everything you want is actually downstream? What if all you need to do is stop struggling and allow yourself to flow with life instead of against it? The universe operates through perfect law. Just as gravity doesn't sometimes work and sometimes doesn't, it's always working. The law of consciousness is always working too. Your only job is to align yourself with it through the art of letting go. Consider this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You know that the seed contains everything it needs to become what it's meant to be. Your desires are exactly the same. Most people don't realize that they're constant checking their anxiety, their need to control. These are the very things preventing their desires from manifesting. It's like constantly digging up the seed to see if it's growing. When you truly understand the art of letting go, you'll notice something remarkable. Things start working out better than you could have planned. It's as if life itself is orchestrating events in your favor. But this can only happen when you get out of your own way. Think about breathing for a moment. You don't control each breath, do you? There's something within you that knows exactly how to breathe, how to digest food, how to make your heart beat. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires to fruition. I've observed that most people live in a state of constant tension. They're always trying to figure everything out, always trying to make things happen. But life doesn't work that way. Life unfolds naturally when you allow it to. Consider how a flower blooms. It doesn't strain or struggle. It doesn't try to force its petals open. It simply allows the process to unfold naturally. This is exactly how manifestation works, through allowing, not forcing. The secret that most miss is this: your natural state is one of ease and flow. Struggle is learned. Anxiety is learned. Trust and relaxation are your natural state, just as they were when you were a small child. Most never realize that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When you're in the right state of consciousness, life moves you toward your desires automatically. You don't have to figure out how. I think about when you're in a state of complete trust. Notice how everything seems to work out effortlessly. This isn't coincidence. This is the natural result of letting go and allowing the infinite intelligence within you to work on your behalf. Your only job is to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled. Not through effort or strain, but through relaxed awareness. Just as you naturally accept that the sun will rise tomorrow, accept that what you desire is already yours. I've watched countless people struggle because they think they need to make things happen. But I tell you this, everything you want is already created. Your job is simply to relax into the state where it exists. Consider how easily water flows around obstacles. It doesn't fight them. It doesn't try to break them down. It simply finds another way. This is how you should move through life, with fluid adaptability and trust. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a garden to be tended. Plant your seed, your desire, water it with attention, and then let it grow naturally. Think about when you're deeply relaxed, perhaps just before falling asleep. In those moments, your mind isn't racing to solve problems. You're simply being. This state of relaxed awareness is where your true power lies. Most never understand that their anxiety about outcomes is actually creating resistance to those very outcomes. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. Release the brake of worry and watch how naturally things begin to flow. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp this truth, that their only job is to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not through effort or strain, but through relaxed, natural knowing. Consider how effortlessly your heart beats, how naturally your lungs breathe, how perfectly your body maintains its temperature. This same intelligence knows exactly how to bring your desires into reality. Trust it. The secret that transforms lives is this: your external world must conform to your internal state. But this doesn't happen through force. It happens through surrender, through letting go of the how, and trusting in the perfect law. Think about times when things worked out perfectly without your intervention. Remember that feeling of pleasant surprise? That's what happens when you get out of your own way and allow life to work for you. Most people live in a state of constant mental chatter, always trying to figure everything out. But I tell you this, your intellectual mind is not equipped to orchestrate the infinite details required to manifest your desires. Let go and trust. Consider how naturally a river flows to the ocean. It doesn't stress about the path. It doesn't worry about obstacles. It simply flows, knowing it will reach its destination. This is how you should live, in complete trust of the process. Your power lies in your ability to feel the reality of your desire now, while completely letting go of how it will manifest. The how is not your concern. Your only concern is maintaining the state of having already received. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't giving up. It's surrendering to a higher intelligence that knows far better than their conscious mind how to bring about their desires. Think about when you're truly in the flow of something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and everything seems to happen perfectly. This state of flow is your natural state. The more you trust, the more you experience it. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not a physical stillness, but a mental stillness. When your mind is still, when you're truly at peace with where you are, that's when magic happens. Consider how a seed becomes a tree. It doesn't happen through force or struggle. It happens through a natural unfolding, a perfect sequence of events that the seed doesn't need to control or understand. Think about how naturally you trust that night will turn to day. You don't lie awake wondering if the sun will rise. This same level of natural trust must be applied to everything you desire. It's not blind faith. It's understanding the law. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking for their desire to manifest. But this very state of seeking implies that what you want is absent. The secret is to live as if you already have what you desire. I've watched people struggle for years because they keep trying to control the process. But when they finally let go, when they truly surrender to the perfect law within them, everything begins to shift effortlessly. Consider how easily you accept your own reflection in a mirror. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same level of natural acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Feel it as real as your reflection. The secret that changes everything is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is an effect, a shadow of your state. But most people spend their lives trying to change the shadow instead of changing the state that cast it. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something you love. You're not trying to make anything happen. You're simply being. This state of pure being, free from anxiety and effort, is where true creation occurs. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still and know. Not intellectual knowing, but a deep, unshakable knowing that transcends logic and external evidence. Consider how naturally water takes the shape of its container. Your consciousness is like water. It takes the shape of whatever state you pour it into. Choose your state wisely, for it will manifest in your world. Your external reality is nothing more than your internal state pushed out. But this doesn't mean you need to force changes. It means you need to relax into the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that letting go isn't a passive state. It's an active trust in the perfect law. They know that what they desire is already theirs in consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely at peace. There's no struggle, no effort, no trying to make things happen. This state of peace is actually your most powerful creative state. Most people approach their desires like they're reaching for something far away. But I tell you this, your desire isn't out there somewhere. It's a state of consciousness that you must occupy now. Consider how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the fulfillment of your desires. Think about the feeling of complete certainty you have about simple facts, like knowing your own name. That same level of certainty, that same absence of doubt, must be applied to your desires, not through force, but through understanding. Most people live in constant anticipation, always waiting for their desire to manifest. But this state of waiting keeps pushing the manifestation into an endless future. The secret is to live as if it's already done. I've witnessed the most remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their power lies not in doing, but in being. When they stop trying to make things happen and start allowing things to unfold naturally. Consider how effortlessly you fall asleep when you're truly tired. You don't force it, you allow it. This same principle applies to manifestation. The more you try to force it, the more it eludes you. The more you allow, the more naturally it comes. The secret that most miss is this: your imagination isn't showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is simply to occupy the state where your desire exists. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certain solidity to it, a realness. Your desired state must feel just as solid, just as real, just as unquestionable. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to feel the reality of their desire more intensely than they feel current circumstances. When you master this, manifestation becomes automatic. Consider how naturally you accept the changing of seasons. You don't resist it. You don't doubt it. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your consciousness is like a signal you're constantly broadcasting to the universe. The clearer the signal, meaning the more stable your state, the faster the manifestation. But clarity comes through relaxation, not effort. I have observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create state. State creates circumstances. They lie from the end, feeling it real now. Think about how you feel when you're absolutely certain about something. You don't try to make it true. You know it's true. This is the feeling state that manifests instantly. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to figure out. But I tell you this, it's already figured out. Your only job is to occupy the state where what you desire already exists. Consider how naturally you accept your own existence. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same level of unquestionable acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Think about how easily you accept that your reflection in a mirror is yours. There's no doubt, no questioning. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. They are as much yours as your reflection. Most people live in a state of constant comparison, always measuring where they are against where they want to be. But this very act of comparison keeps them stuck in the state of wanting. The secret is to live from the state of having. I've watched countless individuals transform their entire lives when they finally understood that their power isn't in changing thinking. Consider how naturally you accept that when you drop something, it will fall. You don't doubt gravity. This same unwavering acceptance must be applied to the law of consciousness. It's just as reliable as gravity. The secret that changes everything is this: your external world has no choice but to reflect your inner state. It's not personal, it's law. Just as a mirror must reflect what stands before it, your world must reflect your consciousness. Think about how you feel when you're completely immersed in doing something you love. Time disappears, worry vanishes, and you're simply being. This pure state of being is where true creative power lies. Most never realize that every moment of discomfort is actually a call to shift states. When you feel dissatisfied, it's not the circumstance that needs to change. It's your state of consciousness. Consider how naturally you accept that tomorrow will come. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural confidence must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Your power to create isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you're using every moment. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? I have observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their state of consciousness is like a frequency they're broadcasting. The clearer and more consistent the frequency, the faster the manifestation. Think about how you feel when you remember something that actually happened. There's a certainty to it, an unquestionable reality. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as real. Most people spend their lives trying to manifest from a state of wanting, not realizing that wanting can only create more wanting. The secret is to manifest from a state of having. Consider how naturally you accept the air you breathe. You don't doubt its presence. You don't worry about its availability. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your desires. Think about how effortlessly water finds its level. It doesn't struggle, it doesn't force, it simply flows. Your manifestation should come just as naturally, just as effortlessly when you're in the right state. Most people live in a constant state of mental warfare, fighting against their current reality while trying to create a new one. But this very fight creates resistance. The secret is to relax into your desired state as naturally as you relax into sleep. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people finally grasp that their only task is to maintain the feeling of their desire fulfilled, not through strain or effort, but through natural, relaxed awareness. Consider how easily you differentiate between hot and cold. You don't think about it, you just know. This same level of immediate, unquestioning knowing must be applied to your desired state. The secret that most never realize is this: your imagination isn't showing you fantasies, it's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes instantaneous. Think about how naturally you accept that your heart will keep beating. You don't worry about it, you don't try to control it. This same level of natural trust must be applied to the manifestation of your desires. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your own voice. There's no doubt, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as familiar, just as undeniably yours. Your external world is nothing but your internal state made visible. But this doesn't mean you need to fight against current circumstances. Simply occupy the state where what you desire already exists. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances are shadows. And you can't fight a shadow. You can only change the object casting it, your state of consciousness. Think about how naturally you accept the ground beneath your feet. You don't question whether it will support you. This same unquestioning trust must be applied to the law of consciousness. Most people approach manifestation like it's a battle to be won. But I tell you this, it's a state to be occupied. When you occupy the right state, everything else adjusts automatically. Consider how easily you know whether you're happy or sad. You don't need to think about it. You just know. This same immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. Think about how naturally you accept that after every night comes day. This isn't hope or wishful thinking, it's knowing. Your desired state must feel just as certain, just as inevitable. Most people live in constant mental turmoil, always torn between what is and what could be. But this very division keeps them stuck. The secret is to be single-minded in your consciousness of the desired state. I've watched countless lives transform when people finally understand that their power lies not in changing things on the outside, but in changing the state from which they view everything. Consider how easily you know your own name. There's no doubt, no questioning, no need for evidence. Your desired state must feel just as natural, just as undeniably yours. The secret that changes everything is this. Your consciousness is like a radio signal you're constantly broadcasting. The universe has no choice but to respond to your frequency. But most people keep changing stations. Think about how naturally you accept that spring follows winter. You don't worry about it. You don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to the unfolding of your desires. Most never realize that their power lies in their ability to be still. Not physical stillness, but mental stillness. When your mind is truly still, truly at peace with your desired state, that's when magic happens. Consider how effortlessly you recognize your own reflection. You don't need to convince yourself it's you. You just know. This same level of natural recognition must be applied to your desired state. Your external reality is nothing but your internal state projected outward. But this projection isn't something you need to force. It happens automatically when you maintain the right state. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that their job isn't to make things happen, but to occupy the state where things have already happened. Think about how naturally you accept that water is wet. You don't question it, you don't doubt it. This same unquestioning acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Most people spend their lives trying to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. But I tell you this, there is no gap except in consciousness. Consider how easily you know whether you're awake or asleep. This knowing isn't something you achieve, it's something you experience. Your desired state must be experienced just as naturally. Think about how naturally you accept that your eyes see color. You don't question it, you don't try to make it happen. This same natural acceptance must be applied to your manifestations. Most people live in a state of constant seeking, always looking outside themselves for evidence of their desires. But this very act of seeking implies absence. The secret is to live from the state of fulfillment. I've witnessed the most profound transformations when people finally grasp that their only responsibility is to maintain the feeling tone of their desire fulfilled, not through force, but through relaxed awareness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're hungry or full. There's no debate, no questioning. Your desired state must feel just as undeniable, just as real to your consciousness. The secret that most miss is this. Your imagination isn't simply showing you possibilities. It's showing you realities that already exist in consciousness. Your job is to occupy these realities through feeling. Think about how naturally you accept that ice is cold. You don't need proof, you don't question it. This same level of natural knowing must be applied to your desired state. Most never understand that their power lies not in what they do, but in the state from which they do it. The same action taken from different states produces entirely different results. Consider how easily you recognize your favorite song. The moment you hear it, you know it. Your desired state must be just as instantly recognizable to your consciousness. Your consciousness is like the soil in which all seeds of possibility grow. But most people keep digging up their seeds to check if they're growing, not realizing that this very act prevents growth. I've observed that those who manifest most easily are those who understand that circumstances don't create consciousness. Consciousness creates circumstances. Think about how naturally you accept that fire is hot. There's no doubt, no need for proof. Your desired state must feel just as undeniably real. Most people approach manifestation like it's something they need to achieve. But I tell you, this is something you need to allow. It's already done in consciousness. Consider how effortlessly you know whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable. This immediate knowing must be applied to your desired state. It's not something you figure out, it's something you feel. Remember always, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person you encounter, every relationship you experience is but a reflection of your own consciousness. The attachment you feel to others, the fear of being alone, these are nothing more than states of consciousness that you have accepted as real. But I say to you now, with all the conviction of my being, that true happiness, lasting fulfillment, comes not from outside yourself, but from within. Let us begin by understanding what it truly means to let them go. This is not about physically pushing people away or cutting ties with those you care about. It is about releasing your attachment to the idea that your happiness depends on them. It is about recognizing that the love, joy, and fulfillment you seek from others are already within you, waiting to be expressed. When you cling to others for your happiness, when you make your joy dependent on their presence or approval, you are denying your own divinity. You are saying to the universe, I am not enough on my own. I need this person to complete me. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, will reflect back experiences that reinforce this belief. But I tell you this, you are complete. You are whole. You are the operant power in your reality. The happiness you seek is not something to be found or gained, but something to be remembered and expressed from within. Imagine now, if you will, a state of being where you are perfectly content, perfectly at peace, perfectly happy, all on your own. Feel this state as vividly as you can. Feel the quiet joy that permeates your being, the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from within. This is your true nature, your God self expressing itself fully. As you embody this state, you will find that your relationships begin to transform. No longer burdened by needs or fear, you become free to love others unconditionally, without expectation or attachment. This is the paradox of letting go. In releasing your grip, you open yourself to deeper, more authentic connections. Now, let us deeper into the concept of being happy alone. This is not about isolation or loneliness. It is about self-sufficiency, about recognizing that you are the source of your own happiness. It is about cultivating a relationship with yourself that is so rich, so fulfilling, that being alone becomes a joy rather than a burden. Begin now to imagine yourself as someone who is completely at ease in their own company. See yourself enjoying solitary activities with genuine pleasure. Feel the peace that comes from quiet moments of self-reflection. Experience the joy of pursuing your passions and interests without needing anyone else's approval or participation. This state of self-sufficiency is your natural state. It is the expression of your God self, the infinite being that you truly are. When you align with this state, you tap into an endless wellspring of joy and fulfillment that is independent of external circumstances or relationships. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about pushing others away or closing your heart. On the contrary, when you learn to be happy alone, you become capable of forming deeper, more authentic connections with others. You approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than lack, of giving rather than taking. Imagine now a life where your relationships are no longer based on need or fear, but on genuine love and mutual growth. See yourself interacting with others from a place of inner fullness, sharing your joy rather than seeking it from them. This is the natural result of learning to be happy alone. As you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, You may find that some relationships in your life begin to change. Some may fall away while others deepen and flourish. This is a natural part of the process. Trust in it. For as you align with your true self, your outer world must rearrange itself to match your new inner reality. Now let us address a fear that may arise as you contemplate letting go and being happy alone. The fear of loneliness. This fear is based on a misunderstanding of your true nature. You are never truly alone, for you are one with the infinite. The entire universe resides within you. Imagine, if you will, that you are an ocean. Each relationship, each person in your life is like a wave on the surface of this ocean. Waves may come and go, rise and fall, but the ocean remains vast and unchanging. This is your true nature, infinite, boundless, complete in itself. When you realize this truth, when you align with this state of being, loneliness becomes impossible. For how can you be lonely when you are one with all that is? How can you lack companionship when you are in constant communion with the divine within you? This realization, my friends, is the key to letting go and being happy alone. It is the understanding that you are never truly alone, that the companionship and love you seek are always available to you, for they are your very essence. As you embody this truth, you will find that your need to cling to others diminishes. You become free to love without attachment, to connect without dependency. Your relationships become expressions of your inner joy, rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Now let us explore the practical aspects of letting go and learning to be happy alone. This is not merely a philosophical concept, but a state of being that you can cultivate through consistent practice. Begin by setting aside time each day to be alone with yourself. This is not time to distract yourself with external entertainment, but time to truly be with yourself. Sit in silence. Observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Get to know yourself as you would a dear friend. As you do this, you may encounter resistance. Old patterns of thinking, old fears and insecurities may surface. Do not fight them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely conditioned responses that you can choose to release. Practice self-love and self-care. Treat yourself with the same kindness and consideration you would show you deeply care about. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, not to impress others or fill time, but because they are genuine expressions of your inner being. Cultivate your passions and interests. Develop skills and knowledge that excite you. As you do this, you build a rich inner world that provides endless satisfaction and fulfillment. You become your own best company, your own source of joy and inspiration. Remember, my friends, the goal is not to avoid relationships or push people away. The goal is to approach relationships from a place of wholeness and self-sufficiency. When you are happy alone, you no longer enter relationships out of need or fear. You choose to connect with others because you want to share your joy, not because you need them to make you happy. As you practice these principles, you may find that your perception of being alone changes dramatically. What once felt like loneliness now becomes solitude, a peaceful, nurturing state where you can commune with your higher self, with the God within you. Imagine now a life where being alone is not something you fear, but something you look forward to. See yourself relishing moments of solitude, using them as opportunities for self-discovery and spiritual growth. Feel the deep sense of peace and contentment that comes from being completely at ease with yourself. This state of being is your birthright. It is the natural expression of your divine nature. As you align with it, you will find that your entire life begins to transform. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being rather than a burden. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Now, let us address a common misconception about letting go and being happy alone. Some may fear that this means becoming cold or detached, closing their hearts to love and connection. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become capable of loving more deeply and authentically than ever before. Your love becomes an overflowing of your inner joy rather than an attempt to fill an inner void. You love not because you need, but because love is your nature. Imagine, if you will, a love that comes from a place of fullness rather than lack. A love that seeks to give rather than to get. A love that enhances your life but does not define it. This is the kind of love that becomes possible when you learn to be happy alone. As you cultivate this state of being, you may find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically. No longer burdened by neediness or fear of abandonment, you become free to be fully present with others. You can appreciate them for who they are rather than for what they can do for you. This shift in consciousness affects not only your romantic relationships, but all your connections with family, colleagues, and even strangers. You begin to approach every interaction from a place of inner fullness, ready to give rather than to take. Now, my dear friends, I want you to understand something crucial. This journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. There may be moments of doubt, times when old patterns try to reassert themselves. When these moments come, remember this: you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. Imagine now that you are embarking on a great adventure. The destination is not some external place, but the infinite realm within you. Each step you take in letting go, in learning to be happy alone, is a step deeper into your true self, your divine nature. As you progress on this journey, you will discover treasures beyond your wildest dreams. You will uncover depths of joy, peace, and love that you never knew existed within you. You will realize that everything you have ever sought in the external world has always been within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. This realization, my friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about reconnecting with your true self, your divine nature. It is about remembering that you are complete, whole, and perfect just as you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a light in this world. Your very presence becomes a reminder to others of their own divine nature. Without saying a word, you teach the profound lesson of self-sufficiency and inner joy. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of being. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and inner peace. Feel the joy that radiates from you, touching everyone you encounter. This is not just a possibility, it is your destiny, if you choose to claim it. Now let us take a moment to address any lingering doubts or fears you may have about letting go and being happy alone. Perhaps you worry that you will miss out on life's experiences, that you will become isolated or disconnected from others. I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that the opposite is true. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become free to engage with life more fully than ever before. You become capable of forming deeper, more meaningful connections because you are no longer approaching relationships from a place of need or fear. Imagine a life where you are free to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to connect without losing yourself. This is the life that becomes possible when you master the art of being happy alone. Moreover, as you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, you become magnetic to positive experiences and relationships. The universe responds to your inner state, bringing you circumstances and connections that match your new vibration of joy and self-love. Remember, my friends, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you transform your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is the law of your being, the creative principle of the universe itself. So I urge you now to commit fully to this journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone. Embrace it not as a sacrifice, but as the greatest gift you can give yourself. For in doing so, you reclaim your power, you remember your divinity, you step into the fullness of who you truly are. Begin today, in this very moment, to live from the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company. Feel it, embody it, become it in your imagination, and watch as your outer world shifts to match this new inner reality. As you practice this, you may encounter resistance from your old self, from ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving. When this happens, do not fight against it. Simply observe it with compassion, understanding that it is not your true self, but merely a habit of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always, you are the operant power in your reality. You are the creator of your experience. The happiness you seek, the love you desire, the fulfillment you crave, all of these are already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you progress on this journey, you will likely find that your perspective on relationships changes dramatically. You begin to see them not as sources of happiness or security, but as opportunities for growth, for sharing, for expressing the love that already fills your heart. Imagine now a life where you approach every relationship, romantic, platonic, familial, from a place of inner fullness. See yourself giving love freely, without need or expectation. Feel the joy of connecting with others, not to fill a void, but to share the abundance that overflows from your heart. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about discovering the infinite wellspring of love and joy within you. It is about becoming so complete in yourself that your relationships become expressions of your inner abundance, rather than attempts to find traps. As you embody this state of being, you will find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically. You attract people who resonate with your new vibration of self-love and inner peace. Your connections become deeper, more authentic, more fulfilling. Moreover, you become capable of loving others more fully and unconditionally. No longer burdened by neediness or fear of loss, you can appreciate others for who they are rather than for what they can do for you. You become free to support their growth and happiness without losing yourself in the process. This shift in consciousness extends beyond your personal relationships to every aspect of your life. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being rather than a means to gain approval or security. Your pursuits and passions become pure expressions of your unique gifts rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Imagine now a life where everything you do comes from a place of inner fullness, where every action is an overflow of the joy and love within you. This is not just a possibility, it is your birthright, your natural state of being when you remember your true nature. As you progress on this journey of letting go and being happy alone, you may find that your entire perception of life changes. What once seemed like challenges or obstacles now become opportunities for growth and self-discovery. What once triggered fear or anxiety now becomes an invitation to trust in your inner strength and wisdom. You begin to see the perfection in every moment, the divine orchestration behind every experience. You recognize that everything in your life, every person, every situation, every seeming setback is serving your highest good, helping you to remember and express your true nature. This realization, my friends, is the ultimate freedom. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of your reality. It is the knowing that your happiness, your fulfillment, your peace are not dependent on anything or anyone outside of you, but are the very essence of who you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a teaching, a reminder to others of their own divine nature and infinite potential. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and radiant joy. Feel the love that flows from you, touching everyone you encounter, transforming lives without a word being spoken. This, my dear friends, is your true purpose. To remember your divine nature and to express it fully in the world. Letting go and learning to be happy alone is not an end in itself, but a means to this greater purpose. It is the path to becoming who you truly are, to living as the God self that is your true identity. So I urge you now with all the love in my heart to embrace this journey fully. Commit yourself to the practice of letting go, of releasing your attachments and dependencies. Dedicate yourself to cultivating inner joy and self-sufficiency. Begin each day by reminding yourself of your true nature. Before you open your eyes in the morning, feel the completeness, the wholeness, the divine perfection that you are. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day, letting it inform every thought, every word, every action. When you encounter situations that challenge your new state of being, when old patterns of thinking or behaving try to reassert themselves, do not fight against them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely habits of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always that you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. As you persist in this practice, as you continue to embody the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company, you will find that your entire life transforms. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your unique gifts. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Moreover, you become a beacon of light in this world, a living example of the joy and fulfillment that come from true self-sufficiency. Without saying a word, you teach others the profound lesson of inner happiness and self-love. Imagine the ripple effect you can create in the world as you embody this state of being. See how your presence alone can inspire others to look within themselves, to discover their own inner wellspring of joy and fulfillment. Feel the satisfaction of knowing that by healing yourself, by remembering your true nature, you are contributing to the healing and awakening of the entire world. This, my dear friends, is the true power of letting go and learning to be happy alone. It is not just about personal fulfillment, but about transforming the world from the inside out. It is about remembering and expressing your divine nature, and in doing so, reminding others of their own divinity. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. The journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It is the path to true freedom, to lasting happiness, to the full expression of your divine nature. So go forth, my friends, with courage and determination. Embrace this journey as the greatest adventure of your life. Trust in the process, have faith in your inner guidance, and know that with every step you take, you are moving closer to the full realization of who you truly are. Remember always, you are complete, you are whole. You are the source of your own happiness. Everything you have ever sought in the external world is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a blessing to the world, a reminder of the infinite potential that resides within each of us. Thank you for your attention, for your willingness to explore these profound truths. May your journey of self-discovery and transformation be filled with joy, wonder, and the deep satisfaction of living as your truest, most authentic self. And may you always remember the divine power that resides within you, waiting to be expressed in all its magnificence. Go now and create the reality you desire. For you are the author of your story, the creator of your world. You are, in truth, the very operation of God in your reality. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your life transforms in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. Thank you, and may your journey be blessed with the full realization of your divine nature and the deep, abiding happiness that naturally flows from this knowing. You are the miracle you seek. You are the love you desire. You are in every moment the full expression of divine joy and fulfillment made manifest. Go forth and live from this truth, now and always.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed friends, and seekers of truth, I stand before you today to impart a message of profound importance, a message that has the power to transform your life in ways you may have never imagined possible. The topic of our discourse is this: act as you can handle anything. Now, I ask you to open your minds and hearts, for what I am about to share with you is not merely a collection of words, but a key to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. Every circumstance, every event, every person you encounter in your daily life is but a mirror of your own consciousness. This may seem a bold claim, but I assure you it is the very foundation upon which the power of your imagination rests. When you act as if you can handle anything, you are not merely putting on a brave face or engaging in empty posturing. No, my dear friends, you are engaging in the most potent form of creation known to man. You are, in essence, commanding the very fabric of reality to conform to your will. I've said of your gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. These are not mere poetic flourishes, but a profound statement of truth. You are, in your essence, a divine being imbued with the very power of creation. When you truly grasp this truth, when you feel it in the very marrow of your bones, you will understand that there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that you cannot handle. But how? You may ask, does one begin to act as if they can handle anything? The answer, my friends, lies in the power of your imagination. Your imagination is not some frivolous faculty, useful only for daydreaming or escaping reality. No, your imagination is the very workshop in which you forge your reality. When you face a challenge, when you encounter a situation that seems overwhelming, I urge you to close your eyes and enter the theater of your mind. See yourself handling the situation with ease and grace. Feel the confidence coursing through your veins. Hear the words of praise and admiration from those around you. Taste the sweet nectar of success. In short, live in your imagination as if you have already triumphed. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is the art of consciously using your imagination to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. For you see, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced in the physical world. When you consistently impress upon your subconscious mind the image of yourself as someone who can handle anything, you are literally reprogramming your entire being. You are changing the very essence of who you are at the deepest level. And as you change within, the outer world has no choice but to change in accordance. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, surely there are some things that are truly beyond our control. How can we act as if we can handle these things? To this I say, there's nothing outside of you. The entire universe exists within your consciousness. What you perceive as external circumstances are merely outpicturings of your own states of consciousness. When you truly internalize this truth, you will understand that by changing your inner state, by firmly establishing within yourself the conviction that you can handle anything, you are quite literally changing the universe. For the universe, its infinite wisdom, always conspires to bring about the conditions that match your inner state. Let me share with you a simple technique that you can use to cultivate this state of unshakable confidence. Before you go to sleep each night, enter into a state of relaxation. Allow your body to become completely at ease and your mind to become still. Then, in this receptive state, begin to imagine a scene that implies you have already become the person who can handle anything. Perhaps you see yourself confidently addressing a large audience or skillfully navigating a complex business negotiation. Maybe you picture yourself remaining calm and centered in the face of a personal crisis. The specific scene is not important. What matters is that it implies the fulfillment of your desire to be someone who can handle anything. As you imagine this scene, allow yourself to fully enter into it. Feel the emotions you would feel if this were actually happening. Experience the sensations in your body. Hear the sounds, smell the scents, taste the flavors. Make it as real and vivid as possible. Then, holding this image and these feelings, drift off to sleep. What you're doing in this exercise is impressing upon your subconscious mind that its most receptive state, the reality you wish to experience, your subconscious mind, being the faithful servant that it is, will then go to work to bring about the conditions that match this inner image. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Some of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't this just self-deception? Aren't we fooling ourselves by pretending we can handle things that we actually can't? There's no pretending. There's no self-deception. There's only the recognition and acceptance of your true nature as a divine being. When you act as if you can handle anything, you are not putting on an act. You are stepping into your true identity. You are claiming your birthright as a child of God, as a being of infinite potential. This is not arrogance or hubris. This is the humble acceptance of the truth of your being. Consider the words of Jesus. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is not a promise of some future fulfillment. This is a statement of a present reality. When you truly believe, when you act from the conviction that you have already received what you desire, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. This principle applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you're facing a challenging work situation, a difficult relationship, a health crisis, or any other perceived obstacle, the key is to act from the state of having already overcome it. Feel the relief, the joy, the confidence that comes from having handled the situation successfully. As you do this, you may find that the outer circumstances begin to shift in ways that seem miraculous. People may suddenly become more cooperative. Resources may appear as if out of nowhere. Solutions to problems may present themselves with surprising ease. This is not coincidence or luck. This is the natural result of aligning your inner state with the outcome you desire. But what about those times when, despite your best efforts, things seem to go wrong? What about those moments when you feel overwhelmed, when you doubt your ability to handle what life has thrown at you? In these moments, my dear friends, it is more important than ever to persist in your assumption. Remember, what you're experiencing in the outer world is merely the shadow of past thoughts and assumptions. It is the fruit of seeds planted in the past. But you have the power here and now to plant new seeds. You have the power to choose a new assumption, to step into a new state of being. In these challenging moments, return to your imagination. Step once again into that inner theater. See yourself moving through the challenge with ease and grace. Feel the strength and confidence flowing through you. No, with unshakable certainty that you can and will handle whatever comes your way. As you do this, you may find that the very nature of the challenge begins to change. What once seemed insurmountable may suddenly reveal itself as an opportunity for growth. What appeared as an obstacle may transform into a stepping stone. For when you change your perception, you change your reality. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how long will it take for my outer world to reflect this new inner state? To this I sigh. Time is an illusion of the physical world. In the realm of spirit, in the realm of your true being, there is only the eternal now. Your task is not to worry about when or how your desire will manifest. Your task is to live here and now in the state of its fulfillment. Act as if you can handle anything, not because you are waiting for this ability to manifest in the future, but because you recognize it as your true nature in this very moment. As you consistently maintain this state, you will find that your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. The speed at which this occurs is not important. What matters is your unwavering faith, your persistent assumption of the state of being you desire. Let me share with you a powerful affirmation that you can use to reinforce this state. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Repeat this to yourself throughout the day, especially in moments when you feel challenged or doubtful. Let these words sink deep into your consciousness, becoming the very foundation of your being. As you do this, you may find that your entire perception of life begins to shift. Challenges that once seemed daunting may now appear as exciting opportunities for growth. Situations that once caused fear may now fill you with a sense of eager anticipation. For when you truly know that you can handle anything, life becomes an adventure rather than a struggle. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about becoming invincible in the physical sense. It is not about never experiencing difficulties or setbacks. Rather, it is about cultivating an inner state of unshakable confidence and peace, regardless of outer circumstances. Think of it this way. Just as the depths of the ocean remain calm even when the surface is whipped into a frenzy by a storm, so too can your inner being remain serene and confident even amidst the turbulence of life. This inner calm, this unwavering certainty that you can handle anything, becomes your anchor in any storm. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of how this transformation occurs. When you act as if you can handle anything, you are engaging in what I call the law of assumption. This law states that if you assume a certain state of being and persist in that assumption, it must become your reality. This is not wishful thinking or mere positive affirmation. This is a fundamental law of consciousness. Just as the law of gravity operates consistently in the physical world, so does the law of assumption operate consistently in the realm of consciousness. When you assume the state of being someone who can handle anything, you're literally reconfiguring your entire being. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very vibration shifts to align with this new state. And as you persist in this state, the outer world has no choice but to conform to this new inner reality. Consider for a moment the story of David and Goliath. On the surface, it appears to be a tale of an underdog triumphing against impossible odds. But viewed through the lens of the law of assumption, we see a different story. David did not see himself as an underdog. He assumed a state of victory before the battle even began. He acted as if he could handle anything, including a giant warrior who had struck fear into the hearts of seasoned soldiers. In your life, you will face many Goliaths. These may take the form of challenging circumstances, difficult people, or your own limiting beliefs. But remember, just as David did, you have the power to assume the state of victory before the battle even begins. You have the power to act as if you can handle anything. And in doing so, to transform the very nature of the challenges you face. But how? You may ask, does one maintain this state of assumption in the face of contrary evidence? How does one continue to act as if they can handle anything when the outer world seems to be crumbling around them? The answer lies in understanding the nature of reality itself. What you perceive as solid Immutable reality is in fact incredibly fluid and responsive to your consciousness. The world you see around you is not an objective, fixed entity. It is a reflection of your own states of consciousness, constantly shifting and changing in response to your inner world. When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that the evidence of your senses is always secondary to the truth of your being. Your task is not to deny or fight against what your senses show you, but to persist in your assumption regardless of appearances. This requires a certain level of mental discipline, a willingness to stand firm in your conviction, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. But as you practice this, as you consistently choose to act from the state of being able to handle anything, you will find that your outer world begins to shift to match this inner state. Remember, the power that creates worlds resides within you. You are not a helpless victim of circumstances, but a divine creator shaping your reality with every thought, every feeling, every assumption. When you act as if you can handle anything, you are exercising this creative power in its highest form. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when discussing these principles. But never, what about other people? Surely we can't control their actions or attitudes. To this I say, there are no other people in the way you might think. What you perceive as separate individuals are, in fact, aspects of your own consciousness, playing roles in the grand drama of your life. This may seem like a radical idea, but consider for a moment. Have you ever noticed how people tend to treat you in accordance with how you expect to be treated? Have you ever observed how your relationships seem to reflect your own inner attitudes and beliefs? This is not coincidence. This is the law of assumption at work. When you truly embody the state of someone who can handle anything, you will find that the people in your life begin to reflect this back to you. Those who once seemed difficult or challenging may suddenly become supportive and cooperative. Those who once triggered feelings of inadequacy, you may now inspire feelings of confidence and capability. This is not because you have changed them, but because you have changed yourself. As you assume the state of being able to handle anything, you are literally recasting the roles of everyone in your life. You are rewriting the script of your life's drama from a place of empowerment and confidence. But remember, this is not about controlling or manipulating others. It is about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully in every aspect of your life. As you do this, you will find that your relationships become more harmonious, your interactions more fulfilling, and your overall experience of life more joyful and empowering. Now, let us explore how this principle of acting as if you can handle anything applies to specific areas of your life. In your career, for instance, imagine how differently you would approach challenges if you truly believed you could handle anything that came your way. How would you carry yourself in meetings? How would you tackle difficult projects? How would you interact with colleagues and superiors? When you act from this state of unshakable confidence, you naturally command respect and admiration. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach may suddenly present themselves. Promotions and advancements may come with surprising ease. This is not because the outer circumstances have changed, but because you have changed. You have aligned yourself with a higher state of being, and the outer world has no choice but to reflect this back to you. In your personal relationships, acting as if you can handle anything can lead to profound transformations. Imagine approaching your partnerships from a place of complete self-assurance and inner peace. How would this change the dynamic? How would it affect the way you communicate, the way you give and receive love? When you no longer come from a place of neediness or fear, when you truly know that you can handle anything, your relationships naturally become more balanced and fulfilling. You attract partners who reflect your own inner strength and confidence. Conflicts that once seemed insurmountable now become opportunities for growth and deeper connection. In matters of health and well-being, the principle of acting as if you can handle anything is particularly powerful. Your body is incredibly responsive to your mental and emotional states. When you truly believe that you can handle any health challenge that comes your way, you create an inner environment that supports healing and vitality. This doesn't mean denying or ignoring health issues, Rather, it means approaching them from a place of empowerment rather than fear. It means trusting in your body's innate wisdom and ability to heal. It means knowing at the deepest level that you have the strength and resilience to overcome any health challenge. As you consistently maintain this state of inner confidence and trust, you may find that your physical health begins to improve in ways that seem miraculous. Chronic conditions may begin to alleviate. Your energy levels may increase. Your overall sense of well-being may soar. Again, this is not magic or wishful thinking. This is the natural result of aligning your inner state with the outcome you desire. Now, I want to address a common pitfall that many people encounter on this journey. It's the tendency to judge oneself harshly when things don't seem to be manifesting as quickly or easily as desired. Remember, my dear friends, judgment is a state that keeps you bound to the very conditions you wish to change. Instead of judging yourself or your progress, practice compassion and persistence. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of doubt or fear, gently guide your attention back to the state of knowing you can handle anything. This is not a battle or a struggle. It is a gentle, persistent realignment with your true nature. Think of it tuning a musical instrument. When a string goes out of tune, you don't berate the instrument or give up in frustration. You simply adjust the string, bring it back into harmony. In the same way, when you find yourself out of alignment with the state of being able to handle anything, simply readjust. Return to your imagination. Step once again into the feeling of unshakable confidence and capability. As you practice this, you will find that maintaining this state becomes easier and more natural. What once required conscious effort now becomes your default way of being. You begin to embody the truth of who you really are. A divine being of infinite potential, capable of handling anything and everything that life presents. Now let's explore how this principle can be applied to goals and aspirations. When you act as if you can handle anything, you naturally set bigger goals for yourself.